If you don't have dark mode, as a software engineer, you should look into other professions like contrary to popular belief and our current stock market bubble, smarter tools are not better tools. In fact, they're usually worse. Think of a smart toaster, for instance, or a smart screwdriver. How does having a Wi-Fi connection, a touchscreen, and a large language model subscription make a screwdriver better at screwing things? Two very different machines wrote JavaScript for me this week. The first is a recorder built into my app. You click through a website like a human being, and it writes down what you did. That's it. That's the whole personality. The second is Claude Code Fable 5 with a direct tether to my bank account. The best of the best. This thing, quote, understands intent and has read every single line of code humanity has ever produced, which in of itself is a huge red flag, but I digress. Spoilers. The good news is Claude produced code that probably saved me hours of development. The bad news is I had to spend a day rewriting it. So here we go. Using the DOM tool, creating a module that automates publishing your product on various directories. Let's see how hard this is and what lessons there are to learn here. Murphy's Law is real. What can break will break. Debugging the workflow failed this time because Product Hunt's server went down. This almost never happens, of course, until you look away from the monitor for just 1 second. Tedious things are tedious, obviously, but they are reliable. Fetching good CSS selectors here requires a bit of detective work, but it's certainly better than having to go through the entire page HTML. Now, let's head over to the other project. I have built this MCP server that is kind of the early stages of an animal in Spore. But before I can improve my MCP server, which I'm going to call my creature from now on, before I can do that, I need a very quick way of letting ChatGPT and Claude Code and others play nice with my creature. I need a button. Okay, when a user clicks on that button, Claude Code or some other AI assistant connects to my creature. When I no longer want Claude Code to talk to my creature, another button will remove that connection. Simple. The alternative here is to tell the user to click on a file and edit it manually, and that's just a horror show. I don't want to do that. It has to be a simple click. So I ask Claude to create a JavaScript class that does exactly this for me. It naturally ignores my request and throws up a bunch of functions and variables all over the place, obviously while also reinventing the wheel. Remember, I'm using Claude Fable 5, the dangerous one they warned us will destroy society or something, and they're charging me real money for this. So I ask it to pretend it's not a noob and bundle everything into a proper JavaScript class this time. Why a class? I need classes, I like classes, what do you want? This thing's awful, and let me tell you why. First off, okay, it kind of works. Not sure, haven't tested it yet. But look at this ugly, fugly object. It's not you, it's the code. It's messy and duct taped. After spending way too much time with Claude Code on this, I'm just going to do it myself, the right way. But meanwhile, in deterministic land, the first part of this module is done. Inputs are separated from the automation itself, and the script does its job. It fills in the fields for our startup listing on Product Hunt. But I want to separate things a little bit. This function initializes the listing, and the second function actually fills in the text on the main product tab. I'm doing this restructuring so that I can better understand and manage my code as I keep growing this tool and adding new directories. The lesson here is boring tools are powerful tools, albeit a bit time consuming. Because if I'm being honest, simple web interactions are not simple at all. So many things can go wrong, from bot detection to servers simply going down. The automation script crashes. The thing is, the automation script needs to be able to face all of that. And all of that is where complexity lies. And that complexity is not something that you can throw to a large language model and it will just magically fix it for you. It requires time, iteration, tokens, and tokens means cash. In the very near future, as my creature evolves, i.e. the MCP server inside Windows gets more features, even the dumbest of AI assistants will be able to reproduce my code and safeguards with relative ease. Hands off, so to speak. You'll be able to pay for an AI subscription so you don't ever have to learn an SDK or experience tedium. Whether that's good or bad, it's up to you to decide. Now, speak of the devil. Look at this mess of a comments section. I don't need your life's story. And what's with the alias? We don't need it. Pretentious, redundant architectural decisions made by training, obviously, on decision by committee public GitHub repositories. You know, crap in, crap out. Let me just practice a little bit of surgery here. Remove blocks that attempt to iterate over something which should be a hash map. I'm not going to tell you exactly why we're doing this, because this is not a coding tutorial. Let's just say it's better. And eliminate the whole manual approach. What's the point, Claude Code? This whole thing is supposed to be an automated one-click connector for AI assistants. If an MCP client like JetBrains, for example, refuses to play nice, it simply cannot be done because they don't expose a file in which I can append our MCP server. Why even include them? Why bother? That was the whole point. So remember, kids, no matter how hard they sell it, AI did not, does not, and will never, ever reason. And finally, we have liftoff. That horrible object is gone. Only beautiful class instances with autocomplete and input validation. Now is the time to connect this with the rest of the application, which means I need to plagiarize myself. And here's the new incantation. SDK, IPC, MCP, get clients. If you say this magic spell, this is what happens. Bam, a list of strings. Incredible, I know. But wait, there's more. Let's see the status of Codex, for instance. Apparently it's not registered and not installed either. This checks out, so it works. And here's where trusting Claude Code's quote judgment bites me in the behind once more. On Windows, there's a huge difference between where and where.exe if you're calling it from PowerShell. And Claude is apparently too dangerous to release to the general public, but it does not know the difference between where and where.exe. Or, and I think this might also be true, it did know the difference, but it made a mistake on purpose to force me to keep the conversation going and spend more on tokens. Which one's which? I don't know. Like a casino, if you think about it. Anyway, now that's fixed, it's time for another round of self-plagiarism. Let's copy something from myself and add a user interface to this thing, so I can have something to show you, not just magic spells and incantations, and trust me bro, this works. I've decided to call this MCP clients for now because that's the technical term. I'm going to rename this into AI assistants later. As a placeholder, that will do, pig, that will do. But now it's time to make the button do something other than stand there and look pretty. Add the dialog. And there you have it. Our dialog is live and glorious with a beautiful, beautiful loading bar. Remember that SDK IPC MCP get clients magic spell, sort of like Wingardium Leviosa from Harry Potter, but for nerds and a weird English accent. Except this one's real and actually does something in real life. It gives me my beautiful list of AI assistants. I'm going to call another method and fetch the install status for each one of these AI assistants. It looks ugly for now, JSON strings everywhere, but this ugly duckling will soon turn into a beautiful, beautiful swan. I'm going to add logos for each AI assistant and a button to the right. If the app is installed, allow the user to connect or disconnect, otherwise point them to a download page. Now each button works. Connect or disconnect window from your favorite AI assistant. The buttons all work just fine. And I've added a small information toggle. It's always good to let people know what they're looking at. But things would not be complete without that logo right? On the left, going away. I'm using Photoshop here to recolor these logos, these things, so that they're all consistent. Export them all as PNG, then minify the files using a file compressor. No point in storing extra bytes for the same output. You can call this a life hack. And here's the end result. Click on MCP clients to be renamed to AI assistants, and you get this beautiful dialog. Connect to any AI assistant with one click. Well, any of the options, obviously. It doesn't work for infinity. Or download the AI assistant you're most excited about this week. And it even looks good in dark mode. You gotta have dark mode. If you don't have dark mode, as a software engineer, you should look into other professions like you have to have dark mode. / sarcasm. Right, so okay, if, and that's a big if you made it this far, please. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where my creature is going to get a little bit smarter. I think, because that's the keyword today, is smart, right? AI. Yeah, my creature is going to get like 160 PhD IQ. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.